Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm on my way back from Eurobasket. I've just spent the last 10 days in Latvia. And yeah, Josh Giddey re-signed. Big news. But that's not what today's video is about. It's going to be the 25-26 team preview for the Chicago Bulls and season predictions. Chicago is a team that looks to get out of play-in purgatory. Do they have enough talent to push themselves at least into the East's middle class tier? But they still kind of have been like in this weird retooling, embracing young players phase, and a lack of bold moves such as keeping Nikola Vučević might kind of stifle whatever true direction they're trying to go. I'd like to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think and why? The Bulls doubled down on Josh Giddey, re-signing him to a 4-year, $100 million deal after that strong late season surge. With Coby White's growth, the additions of players like Isaac Okoro and rookie Noa Essengue, Chicago has the mix of youth and experience. But the question remains, what is the team building towards? Are they stuck on a treadmill? Or is there a path to contention? Tre Jones and Josh Giddey were the biggest spenders or the biggest financial moves they made. Okoro being traded for Lonzo Ball was just a solid swap. They have, I really think Lachlan Ulbrich is the only two-way guy out of Emmanuel Miller, who's Leonard Miller's older brother, and Yuka Kamora, Caleb Grill, and Wooga Poplar. I think Lachlan's the only one who's really an NBA player, kind of like in the mold of a Daniel Tice. And to me, this is a team that went 39-43. They lost in the play-in round. Coby White solidified himself as a legitimate scoring guard in this league. Josh Giddey posted near triple-double numbers to finish the year in the last 20 or 30 games. And I know injuries to like Ayo DeSumo and Tre Jones did disrupt some of that stability that they had in the backcourt. Billy Donovan made these Bulls fight. They fought hard. And they ultimately failed to advance past the play-in. But I think Chicago played it safe. They went out this summer, extended Billy Donovan. It was about continuity, not reinventing the wheel. They traded away Lonzo Ball, brought in Okoro. They need some point of attack, some length, some consistent low-volume shooting. And it really doesn't change the team's trajectory like a whole lot, but drafting Essengue shows that they're going to be patient. He's someone that people have compared to Pascal Siakam, best case scenario. He's kind of a high upside, somewhat high risk player. And Buzelis, Matas, showed off that he has a higher ceiling than some people might think. The front office avoided spending money, making splashy moves. And they're still competitive, but it's not a transformative offseason. Coby White and Josh Giddey, I'd assume Isaac Okoro, Buzelis, and Vučević would be the starting five, with Tre Jones, Ayo DeSumo, Patrick Williams, Noa Essengue probably being the 9-man rotation they want to trot out there for the time being, with Zach Collins as the backup center. And I think looking at them now having multiple playmakers and Coby and White gives Chicago and Billy Donovan the double guard look that Billy likes. And they have two guys in Buzelis and Essengue that project to be really long, athletic, two-way guys that if they do hit, or at least one of them hits, it could ultimately change the trajectory of this team way more than anybody would give them credit. So then you look at a team that still has Vučević, they have Zach Collins, and they still have Jalen Smith. I think they kind of are ready to move off of Vooch, but if they keep him and if he wants to stay, it's fine. And whatever. Yes, Patrick Williams was overpaid. He's still a solid defender. Him and Okoro give you two really standout guys on the Bulls roster in terms of defenders. So to me, when we look at that, I think this is just a team that might be better than we want to give them credit. They still have Kevin Huerter, and I wonder if they're going to be one of those teams that ends up surprising people because their roster ends up being more competent and competitive than other people might have thought. As we mentioned, majority of the roster, there's still Javon Carter, my apology, not Jalen Carter, Javon Carter, which, yes, there's no star power or clutch killer guy. And people are being in the same mindset for Chicago for a while now, and that Chicago is stuck in the play-in tier. There isn't really like a clear path to like being able to make that sort of leap. And I think obviously they've struggled with staying healthy, or all their players staying healthy, and trying to find someone who can obviously space the floor consistently outside of, at this point, Coby White. If we want to give Josh Giddey the benefit of the doubt, Patrick Williams and Isaac Okoro have efficient splits, but they're low volume. Now, Billy Donovan receiving that extension from the front office is a signal of faith. They believe that he has a steady hand. The system he has in place emphasizes ball movement, shot creation, and heavy guard play, while also putting guys on the floor who are going to always make a defensive effort. Now, the main thing any critic is going to look at is that the ceiling is capped by their flaws, that the depth might not be the best. There isn't, scoring, because even if you don't have a lot of shot creation in terms of a pure shot creator, even though Coby White shows that he can be that guy, and so does Josh Giddey, they don't have like the Malik Beasleys or the Isaiah Joes or the Peyton Pritchards of the world that are going to come in and be volume bombers from three, even if they're not shot creators, because you have two guards right there that are going to be able to create for them and put them in situations. But when you have Okoro and Williams, if you're hoping that they're going to go buck the trend of their career right now and become volume three-point shooters, which, yes, they shoot efficiently, but it's one or two shots a game instead of 5 or 6. Now, Chicago, I think worst case is play-in bound, and that obviously would probably make it weird if Billy Donovan isn't put on the hot seat following that, but they're above the cap in terms of like the minimum floor, but they're below the tax in the apron. They have the $14 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception, the 5.1 biannual, and they have a 6.2 trade exception still from the Zach LaVine deal. They have Portland's protections 2026 through 28, and they have a steady ownership of firsts. I think the fact that Josh Giddey is locked in, they have Vuč expiring, and hopefully they're going to be able to offload that to at least get compensated, unless like they're fine just gaining the cap flexibility that they would if he walked, because Coby White is eligible for an extension. They're gonna have to figure out like, okay, he supposedly wants $30 million a year. You were able to get Josh to get down to 25. I don't think Coby should be making more than Josh. That's kind of where we're at. And I think that's kind of why they would be fine with Vuč, or just trading Vuč for another expiring contract. And as they know, they have to stagger the money with multiple players becoming extension eligible. Now, Noa Essengue was drafted because he fits next to Buzelis. And like Josh Giddey, this is like a big team if that all works out. He's an athletic combo forward who at 6'9" almost, with a 7-foot plus wingspan, has the defensive instincts and the athleticism to be a long-term starter, maybe even an all-star. And as I mentioned, Lachlan Olbrich, the Australian big who can space the floor a little bit, bring some mobility and energy in a Daniel Tice kind of way, is the only two-way player that I think has potential of becoming something. While Coby White already broke out, and so did Josh Giddey. I think one of them needs to ascend further as a primary scorer, not just a shot creator, but like the guy who's going to be able to take the last shot of the game, who's just going to be able to get his buckets. And Buzelis is someone that I think who can take that big sophomore leap with more touches, more minutes, and just feeding off of how he ended the year. And Noa Essengue has NBA ready defense. I think the offense is what we're just going to wait for, but he could surprise people in a rotation. But Josh Giddey getting 25 a year is them betting on him. And I know that's not as much as he wanted, but he's a guy who can pass, dribble, shoot, play, make, rebound, has an all-around impact that is crucial. And we saw that he fueled Chicago's late season push, and he was taking some clutch buckets. I mean, you guys all remember that game over the Lakers. And if the shooting continues to improve and be consistent, maybe it's not Coby White who becomes the engine that lifts the Bulls out of mediocrity. It's Josh Giddey. So how far can Chicago go? I think likely at worst case it's back in the play-in mix. Right now we can't say there's a clear path to contention unless like they make a major trade or someone becomes an all-NBA player that is a fringe MVP caliber. But the young talent that they have gives hope. I think this team is more trying to bet on continuity and stability than ambition. So look at Essengue and how he can complement Buzelis, and maybe he'll probably follow similar learning curve to Buzelis and not contribute right away, but by the end of the year, yes. Will Vučević or Zach Collins be moved? Is this team going to get stuck in the play-in purgatory? And is that acceptable? Now, Josh Giddey, is he going to make his extension look like a bargain, or is it going to be an overpay? And what is the extension for Coby White going to look like? Those are things we're going to have to figure out. I think their record's going to be similar to last year. Worst case, best case, they're 45. Maybe they push 50 wins and they're top 6 seed. I don't think they're a lottery team. I just think like hovering around 500 for most of the year is just going to be the thought. So let me know your predictions on that one. I'm curious because it's really just a hodgepodge of a roster, and how are you supposed to elevate it? Now it is Chicago, so you're maybe hoping that in the summer of 2026 you'll be a bit more cap flexible and there's going to be more players to go big fish hunting that you could maybe rope one in. Now I think that we're in an era of developmental priority. So I think that's just where you got to think about, okay, this is a team that is trying to probably go through a different direction. And that's kind of where I'm at with them. Chicago is just really hard to gauge because they're just trending water. But then there's like actual signs of the young guys could be a decent team. It just doesn't make sense, the roster construction altogether.